Imagine waking up in the morning, doing things that you know are really good for you, starting your day with those things, and then going through the entire day making choices that are in alignment with what you know is really good for you. At the end of that day, how would you feel? And then how would you feel if you were consistently showing up for yourself every single day for a week, doing those things that you know make you feel good, that they're good for you? And then how would you feel after one whole month of consistently showing up for yourself, doing the things that you know are good for you? In the discipline of self-love, we are going to start off with 7 days of consistently doing things that we know are good. But before we get started, there's a process of going through the things that we're doing with our time, our habits, the ways we wake up in the morning, what time you eat breakfast and lunch and dinner, how you get ready to go to sleep at night. What kinds of exercises are you doing? How are you consuming media and different foods and drinks? So we're going to take the first day of the discipline of self-love to go through and really be like a third person, or maybe even get somebody else to come in and look at your day. So what I would like for all of us to do, I'm doing this also myself, this 7 days, just really starting off with getting very honest with ourselves about where we are. So what I would like to have us all do is take a notebook, get a journal that's going to be specifically for this process. Write down your day today. What did you do the first thing when you woke up in the morning? And then go through and just write down everything you did. And you can do this tomorrow also. You can start this process tomorrow by noticing what all you do. And then have somebody else look at it. And I mean, write down everything from the time you woke up, what you drank, what you did, what things that you read, everything, as much as you feel is reasonable. And have somebody else look at that and see where you would like to make some changes. Now, for me personally, I know that I have this idea, and because before 2020, I call it pre-2020, I did my ideal day. I did it consistently for years and years and years. And I'm talking since when I was in the military. I had this discipline built into my life because of being in the military. And then I had kids. And then I was a mom in the military with kids going to school. And then when I got out of the military, I was a single mom with kids going to school and always just doing a lot of things. So I had to have a very structured and regimented life in order to do all the things that I wanted to do to reach my goals. And then 2020, everything got thrown off because I was in bed sick for 15 days. I reevaluated my whole work ethic in my life, and I got into a different routine. And it's not bad, it's just different. So for me personally, I have in my mind the ideal image of what my daily routine looks like and what I know feels really good in my body and what's really good for me. So write that down. Now, you know what's really good for you, what feels really good for you. Write that down. And throughout the 7 days, I'm going to be offering some wisdom from Ayurveda, because that is really where I have found the most benefits. They have something in Ayurveda called Dinacharya, which is the daily routine, basically Dina, day, Charya, mastery. I don't remember the exact meaning of the thing, but it basically means like you're mastering your day. You are setting your schedule, you're living with a pattern, and it's going to relate to your circadian rhythm. So I'm going to be offering that. Let me just tell you a little bit about me in the sense of what I am bringing to offer you for free for this 7 days. I lived in India for 2 years. Dinacharya on lock when I was living in India. It was very, very regimented, the most healthy I've ever been, because the food was right. We ate at the right time. We woke up at the right time. We did everything like a clock. So matching with the season, with the sunrise and sunset to our internal body clock, just totally in sync with nature. Eating the foods that were available in the jungle where I live, so very local food, what's in season, and being part of a bigger group. This is another element that we might not be able to get in this 7 days, but something to start thinking about is, who is your community? Because we in this culture see ourselves as just a one little drop, and we really need a whole web of relations to make life work and to make life enjoyable. So I lived in India for 2 years. I studied with a Reiki master there. We'll be sharing some Reiki healing techniques that you can do on yourself. I studied Ayurveda extensively with a doctor, and in India, they do a system of learning where you live with your teacher. You live there, they come get you in the middle of the night or any time of day and bring you to see the patient with them. So the way of learning in India, the best of the best. So I studied Ayurveda extensively. It was a yoga ashram, so I was completely immersed in the yogic lifestyle, and which this Dinacharya, Ayurveda, and yoga go together. So it's really weird in our culture also that so many people are practicing something that they call yoga, completely isolated from the reality of what all yoga really entails. So I will be sharing some of my wisdom that I've taken and made it into my own. And I always recommend to read the books that I'm offering. People who work with me often say, oh, that book that you recommended changed my life. So even if you don't get something exactly the thing that changed your life from this course, you will definitely be guided to further resources for things that will be really, really beneficial for you. Okay, so that India experience is really going to inform a lot of what I'm sharing with you here. And also I did, when I came back to the US, I did a Ayurveda lifestyle consultant course with Dr. David Frawley, who's, when I was in India, his books were on the bookshelves of the doctors. I studied with 2 doctors there. His books were on the bookshelves of the doctors in India. Dr. David Frawley is very well respected. So I took that course and treated a lot of people. I did for 2 years in-person consultations for making recommendations for people using Ayurveda. Then I also did a holistic healing, was healing with whole foods nutrition course with my mentor, now a friend and somebody who I still see as a mentor. I will always see him as a mentor, Seymour Coblin, amazing practitioner of the healing arts. And the nutrition program, I will be bringing in some of the things that I learned from that course, and then many herbal courses. So this herbalism is something that I can tell you, Matthew Wood, one of my main teachers, and Seja Poppin, one of my other main teachers. I've taken so many of his courses, so many of Matthew Wood's courses, and then many courses from herbalism, because it's one of the ongoing studies that I will never know it all. So those are the things that I'm bringing. And I have been working in the healing arts since 1999. Started off in Western medicine, working in the hospitals as a hospital corpsman. And I have just never stopped. I'm very passionate about healing. I am super, super passionate about taking charge of our health and doing as much as we can to prevent disease. And then when we start to notice symptoms, to get on it right away before that symptom is basically showing you a sign of something going on in your body. And in Ayurveda, the way they call it is like that can become really deep in the tissues and the different layers of tissue. And when we first get a sign of something going awry, that is when we need to take action. So one of my practices that everybody who knows me, I'm very well known for this. If somebody was like, oh, what would you say about Anjani? They're going to say she is really in tune with her body. She is really disciplined. She is really into her routine. I live by my schedule, and yes, I'm very sensitive, sense-oriented. And these are things that I've developed over time as a way of keeping myself healthy. Okay, so that's enough about me. Now let's get into, we talked about day one. We're going to look through what it is that we do naturally. What is it that we're already doing? What's working really well? This is something that I want to keep in my day. What are some habits that are not bringing me closer to my goals, helping me live my true purpose, that are maybe causing problems, looking at light, getting light into our eyes after the sun has gone down, especially this phones and the TV and the fake lights that are very strong, because this is going to be interfering. Receiving light into the eyes after the sun has gone down is going to be interfering with the natural circadian rhythms in our body. And this body clock is everything, because the information that goes in is going to directly inform our endocrine system and the whole cascade of hormones that are going off in our body. So looking at what we do, listing the things that you want to change, and I will be bringing more of these informations about melatonin and testosterone and the hormones that are going off. What do we need to have happen? I'll be talking more about that in the next days. So now, after you've looked at what you're doing and put in some things of what you want to change, now you're going to make yourself a new schedule. And my number one recommendation is to start your day before the sun comes up. Start your day before the sun comes up. And that is because you can wake up. I have a little invigorating routine. I posted that already in day one. There's other things you can do. Of course, you already know what is good for you, and I'm going to be adding in some ideas of things that you can do. So you want to wake up early. You want to get outside and let the sun get into your eyes. When the sun comes up, you want to be there to receive that light in your eyes, the sunshine on your skin. This is going to set you up for success, because now you're activating hormones in your body. There's already naturally a rise of testosterone in the morning. Now the sun is rising. Our energy is able to rise up. Personally, sun salutations during the sunrise, and if you can recite the mantras for the sun salutations, best time of my life was when I was doing that practice. And that's something that I'm personally going to be bringing back into my routine. For you, whatever you can do, even if it is just get up, do the little morning cleanses that I recommended, or something that you like to do. Get out there, receive the sunlight in your eyes, do a little pranayama breathing exercise, or just for 3 minutes, take some breaths. And I will give some recommendations for non-yogic breathing that is more associated with the Heart Math Institute, what they recommend for coherence between your brain and your heart. Then if you can, do a little exercise, something to get the blood flowing. More blood flow to the brain is always good first thing in the morning. It's always good, but always good first thing in the morning. After you've done some of that activity, you can move into Maybe you're going to have breakfast. Maybe you're going to start your work day. So write your schedule out, the ideal schedule that you're going to be working with. Whether you have a job that you have to show up at a certain time, it's easier to make the schedule because you have a structure already. For people who are self-employed or they have different work schedules, I know I was working with a lot of musicians at one point in my healing arts practice, and helping them create a routine for their wellness was so challenging because they had different things that were happening on different days, a lot of late nights working. And that can become more complex to work with, but it is still doable and it's still important to do that. If you would like one-on-one time with me to help to create this routine for you, I am available. You can book time with me. That's absolutely an option that's available to you. I'm hoping that you'll be able to get enough through this course and the recordings that I'm presenting to you to be able to do most of it yourself. But if you need extra support, I am here for you for that support. So that's going to be the beginning. Let's go ahead and do those things. Notice what you're doing, create a new routine, something that you would like to do. And the last point that I'll leave you with in this video is to make a commitment, because this is something that is very sneaky about our brain that I promise you it's going to happen. Even if you make your commitment and you're very devoted to your commitment, this is going to happen for sure. There's going to be a time that you missed the sleep train. I call it the sleep train because there's a moment you feel sleepy and you're and then you're like, oh, let me just check my email one more time. You check the email, your sleepiness kind of starts to fade away and you get alert again. It's 10 p.m. This 10 p.m., between 10 and 2, there's another rise of heat in the body. And when that heat rises in those late hours, it's for healing your organs. It's a fire. It's like a pitta. In Ayurveda, pitta is a fiery, it is the actual fire in your belly. It burns things away. It's the fire that doesn't burn you, but it burns away impurities. It's a very healing fire. But if you stay awake and you missed the sleep train, which is in the kapha time, now you get into the fiery time and you're stimulated and now you're not sleepy anymore. And then the next thing that happens is that you get hungry because that fire is a fire in your belly that you'll start to feel hunger signals. Well, had you gone to sleep, this time would be purifying your body and all the energy would go to burning up any pathogens, burning up any what do we call ama, like the toxins, the heaviness. But now that you're awake, you're like, I'm hungry, so I'm going to get a midnight snack, which now what you're doing is creating work for your digestive organs. So now that fire is going to go to digesting food, which is going to make you more alert. Now you've missed the sleep train. Now, when this happens to me, I'm like, oh, I missed the sleep train. I'm awake now. So now what am I going to do? Because the next sleep train is going to come around 2 a.m. Now you pay attention for yourself when these things happen. So you get to know your body's rhythm. This is where that, oh, she's so sensitive. She's so in tune with her body. It's because I pay attention. I keep journals. I really track what I'm doing and what I did, what effects that gave. The whole cause and effect thing. I know. So find out for yourself. So, so the reason you need to make the commitment is because when you're there and you took that yawn, you feel yourself sleepy and you know that you could either get on the sleep train and ride it through the night and let that digestive fire heal you, or you decide to go ahead and check that email one more time. You're making a choice. you missed the sleep train. If you make a commitment, I am committing to 7 days. They say 28 days. I think it's 28 days to create a new habit. We're starting here with 7. I'm going to try to trick you into getting the 28 later by, hey, why don't you just keep this going a little bit longer and see if you can make it to 28? Just going to let you know that right now, but just 7 days. Commit to the 7 days. That way, when you get to those moments and there's something in your brain where I think it's the frontal cortex, prefrontal cortex, that gets a little bit numb during certain times of day and during certain activities, certain stimulus that's going on. And you're not going to have your wits about you so much. Or when you get that sugar craving and you are removing sugar. I'm on this right now. I've been, it's already over 30 days. I've been with no sugar, no honey. I was craving it a lot today. But because I have that commitment, I'm able to withstand the cravings. So the commitment is very important. I wrote about that. I know there's a lot of writing in this course, but if you can, I think there's some buttons on a lot of the internet things that will read it to you or have somebody else read it to you so you don't have to look at the screen. So yeah, go ahead and make the commitment. And thank you so much for joining me. I am really excited for this. You don't even know. Like, this really is the thing that I am so super passionate about. So I'm excited to be sharing this with you. And I look forward to seeing you again in our next video.